Well, CattleCon 2024 wraps up later today in Orlando, Florida, and our team has been scouting out some of the most inspiring women in agriculture. And we definitely found one in Brandi Buzzard. RanchHER host Janie Johnson has the story.
We're here at NCBA in Orlando, Florida. I'm joined by a great friend of ours, Brandi Buzzard. And of course, we're here celebrating women in agriculture, talking about RanchHER. You yourself, you're kind of the definition RanchHER. But tell us about the journey to get to that point in your role on the ranch.
Well, I wouldn't call myself the definition of a rancher, but I grew up in what you would call like a hobby ranch, right? So we had 4-H animals, and we always had roping cattle. I've rodeoed my entire life, so I didn't grow up like producing food for the food supply. So that's why when I say I'm a first generation rancher, it's because this is my first time producing food, like goes into the food supply chain, raising beef. So my husband and I, we met in college. We both had similar goals. We wanted to be involved in the beef industry. He grew up on a diversified crop and livestock operation in Northwest Ohio. So it was just an easy thing. We had the same goals, a lot of things in common. We both had the same passion. So we bought our ranch in 2015 and got our first group of cows in 2016. And it's just been, Mach 9 ever since.
What is that learning process like to take a ranch from, just like you said, a small hobby ranch to full-blown, this is what we're doing for a living, this is how we're going to feed our family? I'm sure you had a lot of lessons that you guys learned.
Well, I heard someone say yesterday, it's like drinking from a fire hose. So it feels a little bit like that. And I will clarify, like we don't, our entire income is not derived just from the ranch. That's not our main livelihood. I do contracting and things on the side, and my husband has a full-time job in the swine industry. So, but we also, as anybody who has cattle knows, and ranches and farms, that like having cattle is also another full-time job.
Yes.
So, but it has been a really steep learning curve, and we've been at it for 7, almost 8 years now, and there's still so much we don't know. We've learned a lot, but there's still so much that we don't know. I mean, no one knows everything.
Well, and of course, we are talking about RanchHER, so I feel like one of the really common questions that women have for other women that are doing this in our industry is, how do you balance all of that? You have 2 beautiful daughters, Quincy and Oakley. Mm-hmm. How do you make that work from your job to ranching to raising cattle and also raising kids?
Yeah, I get asked that question a lot, particularly when I'm giving like a keynote address or something like that at a women's conference, and someone will ask me, well, how do you balance it all? And my short answer is there's no balance, right? A really good friend of mine told me about an analogy she heard, that we have like rubber balls and glass balls. And so like the rubber balls are things that you can let drop and bounce. And the glass balls are things that like absolutely you cannot drop. So for me, my daughters and like our ranch are almost always, like 99% of the time, a glass ball. And other things like, okay, I've got to meet this freelance deadline, or I need to clean the house or something. Those are rubber balls. And so it just is, which one are you juggling and you can let bounce so that the glass ones don't drop? So, because there is no true balance. It's just a matter of prioritizing and setting boundaries for what you've got to focus on right then.
I love that analogy though, because it's very accurate to a lot of things in life. But why was it important for you to raise your 2 daughters in agriculture?
I mean, I grew up, my mom taught me everything about being independent. So like, I watched her take us to rodeos. Like she loaded up a trailer full of horses and we were gone for a whole weekend or more. And it was just, I just saw that. Like it wasn't really a big transition for me to go from seeing my mom take us to rodeos by herself, just as kids, and then me going to taking me and my daughters only, to go chop ice while my husband was at work or he was on a trip, or to go feed cattle, to get the cattle in when they get through the electric fence in January. Like it just, I've never felt like I was limited because I was a woman. And so I want my daughters to see that. I want them to have the same level of knowing that they can do it. We have a saying, the 2-year-old isn't really caught on yet, but our 7-year-old Oakley, like I ask her, and I've been asking her since she was 3 or 4, like, what can girls do? And the answer is always anything. And so I want that ingrained in them, that they can do hard things. It might be really difficult. I remember one time I was pregnant with Quincy. My husband was laid up after having a head injury, and I was like on the ice, like trying to chop a hole in this ice. I'm so exhausted. And I heard my 4-year-old from the truck yell, "You can do it, Mama. You're the best ice chopper." And so I want them to feel empowered that they can also do anything, even if it's hard.
She is a great role model. Janie and her colleague Kirby Schnorr, host of FarmHer, are about to host an all-female panel at NCBA. They're going to be discussing women in the industry. Brandi, by the way, that you just saw, is going to be part of that discussion. We're going to have more of that story Monday on Market Day Report.